What's going on, everybody? It's Ben here with Conserve Ohio. Today we're going to go out to one of my 250-acre pieces, and we're going to do two things. First, we're going to go check an existing trail camera, and what I want to show you is some sign that I look for when setting up a game camera: mock scrapes, feeding areas, water sources, and bedding areas. The second thing we're going to do is go set up a trail camera in a new spot. I'm going to show you what I'm looking for, why I'm setting it up in that area, and how I like to go about setting up my cameras. So sit back and let's go out there together. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll probably recognize where I'm at. This is a piece of property that I recently got permission to hunt, Seek One style. So I'm really trying to figure out all the deer movement, what kind of deer are out here, and just how the property kind of works in general. Now I've got one spot that I'm really excited about here. Gotten over 100 pictures in the past month: bucks, does, fawns. So it seems like a really good spot, and that's where we're gonna head first. But other than that, I'm still kind of in the dark as far as how this whole properties work and how the deer move throughout it. So that's where setting up that second camera comes into play. All right, so we're at the first spot where I've set up a camera, and there's a couple reasons I did it here. First of all, you can see this tree limb here has been rubbed on, so much of the leaves have been eaten away. And that's all from deer, right? It's either from the bucks rubbing up against it, the does feeding on it here, right? You can see how there's leaves missing here. This tree should be nice and green, but it's got a lot of stuff missing, right? So I'm looking for that. That's a pretty obvious sign of deer activity here. Now, the second thing is this, and take a look at this when I turn this camera here. Now, obviously I have the camera right here, but what I really want you to look at is this whole area here. If you pay attention, there's game trails that run all through here and kind of intersect right in this location. There's actually a couple beds. This is what I look for when I'm setting up cameras. It's not just one or two game trails. I want to find a spot where a bunch converge, a choke point, if you will, right? So right under this Osage orange tree, we have a choke point. All these game trails are running right into one area, right into an open bean field. This is absolutely prime location to set up a game trail if you're on public land or private where landowners don't want you to bait. So I'm going to turn this camera back on. This has been one of my most successful cameras this year. We'll see what else we get. And now let's go set up another camera and kind of look for a spot that's a little similar to this or has other key features that I'm looking for when setting up a camera. So right here is a decent spot. I'm not going to put a camera here because I think there's probably better, but I did want to stop and show you. You can see there's a trail that comes right out here, right? And there's about two or three that kind of converge. Again, going on that theme, looking for multiple game trails that converge into one or a choke point, right? I don't want just one, I want a lot of activity all funneling into the same area. So this is a decent spot, and I'm gonna mark this in Onyx, but for now we're gonna move on to the next spot and see what we can find in other places. This spot right here is another great example of a choke point, right? Not only a choke point, but a choke point with a lot of soft cover. On either side of me, you can see there's a lot of really tall mare's tail, right? What that does is allow a deer to come in. They can stay in that thicker cover until they pop out into this area right here. I always want to be thinking about what a deer has to hide itself and make itself feel comfortable. This looks like an absolutely prime spot to put up a game camera. The only problem is I don't have anything to put it on. So we're gonna do a little bit more scouting. If I really have to, I'll find a stick or branch or something to get it put on, but we're gonna look around a little bit more. But this is just an absolutely perfect thing to look for when you're looking to set up those cameras. All right, so this is where I'm gonna set up my last game camera. As you can see, there's a lot of soft cover that gives that deer just a little bit more of a sense of security before they come out into this field and feed. And we have a bunch of game trails running through here. I'm counting 8 to 10 trails all converging on this one area. So this is just a prime spot. What I'm also seeing right up there, yeah, that's an old deer stand. Looks like it's been up there for about as long as I've been alive. It's certainly not one I'm gonna climb up in, but it shows me that at one point in time, somebody else agreed with me that this was a good spot. That's another thing to be looking for. Look for where other hunters have been, right? Doesn't matter if it's been a long time ago. It means at one point in time, this was a spot where another guy said, hey, I need to set up here. It was worth taking the time to set up a deer stand, so I might as well set up a camera. So let's get to it. I'm just gonna go on this little tree here. What we're gonna do is just clear some brush, just a little bit, not a bunch, but just enough to not set off the camera. What I'm running are the SkyPoint Flex M's. Pretty decent for the price. Just your typical cell cam. Could take video or picture. So let's go set it up right here. So pro tip when you're setting these up, always make sure you clear any leaves or brush that could blow in front of it, or you're gonna have a massive headache of getting a bunch of pictures of leaves, wind, and grass moving around, right? Another thing, always make sure you wrap up what's left of your strap on the camera. Otherwise you can get raccoons coming up, messing with it, tearing it up, things like that. So just a couple things there. That's gonna do it for today's video. If you've made it this far, make sure to like it for me, subscribe if you wanna see more of these videos, and check out some of my other pages, TikTok, Instagram. I'd really appreciate it. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.